Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Adrift. So, first off, sorry about the slight hiatus to Adrift. Every time I wanted to do it, just something got in the way for the past week, and I've finally gotten back into it, and actually want to thank everyone who watched the last episode, because I actually got a little bit of, people talking about which, or not talking so much, but just sort of telling me which one they wanted, the first, second, or third one. And it looks like the first one won out. There were 3 votes. There was one for first, one for second, and then someone else had said first, and I'm assuming that they meant the first choice, and they weren't just saying first. So I'm going to go with that. So, which, by the way, if you, a little backup, Erica was asking how we should, let's see, how she knows all about that technology. And so we're going to ask her how she learned about graviton counters, because she said she learned it all from Blue Tide, but we don't have graviton counters in Blue Tide, so let's ask about that. Why do you ask? Because I was surprised to hear that even you know about things like graviton counters. They're not part of the usual curriculum, I believe. Well, as I already told you, I did a lot of research myself, and where did you research graviton counters? They're not used anywhere in Blue Tide, so you couldn't have seen one here. Well, this is none of your business. Whoa. Okay, now you've made me curious. Really, this is of no concern to you. It sure sounds like it was, and the fact that you're making a secret out of this makes it look even more suspicious. How am I supposed to trust you? You? Trust me? You asked me to help you. Have you already forgotten? Don't you want my help? I need to know whether I can trust you to act in the best interest of the city, and if you insist on being secretive, that's a problem. Frankly, this is your problem, and yours alone. I'm willing and able to assist you. Whether you trust me enough to let me help you is your choice, not mine. You could help me make that choice. If it's by giving away private information, then I won't do that. If that makes my help unacceptable to you, then so be it. I guess this really is important to you, right? Yes. Then I won't ask any further, and I'm happy you're willing to help me, and you needn't answer any questions you're uncomfortable with. Good. Now where is that seismometer you talked about? So I have a feeling that we might have done something bad to ask her that, and if we end up with a bad ending in the same way, we'll go back to that decision and we'll make the second choice, I think. Oh yes, of course. It's just a few feet to the right, under a hatch on the floor. Here? I mean my right. Ah. So you mean around here? Yes. Let me have a quick look. To open the hatch, you need to... I know how it's done, thank you. Oh. I probably need to be a little careful. I don't want the system to think there's already been an earthquake around here. I wouldn't worry about that. As soon as you open the hatch, the seismometer will be put into maintenance mode, and the systems will try to interpret all sensor data from there with this in consideration. Not bad. Okay, I've got it open. Looks like I need to unscrew a few bolts as well. Hang on. Huh? This one looks stuck. Erica, look out! What? The Sakiko, or Sakiko? Something? No need to shout, Erica. I was just curious about what you were doing. You still didn't have to sneak up on me like that. Sneak? I don't sneak. You two know each other? Of course I know her. I mean, who doesn't know Sakiko? And I would be a fool not to know interesting people like our little spark Erica here. Don't what? Nothing. Which we already do know about sparks if you remember from our last one with Minako and Erica. Oh wow, this music is loud. And why haven't you introduced me to your little AI friend here? I thought I already knew all of our voices in the walls. I'm not an AI. I am the supervisor. Ah, I should have known. Huh? Why? Birds of a feather. So, what are you talking about? Oh, nothing in particular. I just thought you'd make a nice... match. For Erica. A nice match. So what are you two doing? It's nothing you need to worry about, Sakiko. My, what's with that reaction, dear? You don't want to tell me? It's nothing we need it's nothing we need your help for. Really? But why? Don't most people consider me helpful? Look, Sakiko, I don't know what happened between you and Erika. Nothing at all, I swear it. But it seems she has some reservations against telling you what we are doing, and I appreciate it if you didn't impress her on that. It isn't necessary anyway. I can already tell what you two are trying to do. Huh? Repairs of some sort. What else would you need our little Spark for? Spark again. That's the second time you called her Spark. What does it mean? Oh, a Spark is someone who's really good with technology. One who understands how everything works, and can even repair complicated machinery. And that's really what it means? Of course. Erika? Yes. See? Basically, it has a very negative meaning. Negative, dear, not at all. A Spark is someone who knows all about technology. Isn't that right? It is right. So what's negative about that? Nothing. See? I still don't understand what this all is about, but it sounds as though you had mixed feelings about Erika. Why, not at all. In fact, if it's repairs you need to do, there's hardly someone more competent than Erika in the entire city. There's so many stories about her talents. And I can personally confirm that most of them are true. It's only a pity she can't be in two places at once. There have been so many times when I wished I knew two of her ability. At least Sakicho's right about that. Sakiko. I'm gonna say Sakiko and Sakicho interchangeably, by the way. Erika can't be in two places at once. Which is pretty much our problem at the moment. If only we had a little more help, another pair of hands would be enough. Ah, well, I'm sure two of you will have this place fixed up in a jiffy. After all, you're probably the two most competent people in the city. Wait a minute. Maybe Sakiko could... But Erika seems to have some sort of problem with her. If I didn't know better, I'd think she was afraid of her, even though Sakiko seems to respect her. Okay, another decision here. I'm actually going to, back up a step. I'm gonna make a save really quick. We'll just put it on slot 9. And, what we're gonna do is if this one turns out bad, because it seems like we might be doing okay. If this one turns out bad, we can come back to this point and make another decision from here, because I kind of want to finish up a route good if we can. Would seem like a good idea to me. And since we're nowhere near the end, I'll have to make this decision. So help would obviously be appreciated, but I really do not like her. She seems like bad news. Maybe we could ask Erika if we can trust her. Of course, I would personally like to pull her to the side so Sakiko can't hear us, but let's ask Erika what she thinks. Of course she does. She has no reason not to, right? I'd like to hear this from her, if you don't mind. Why would I mind? Well then, Erika? Come on, don't be afraid. I am not sure. Ah, now that hurts. It's true that Sakiko never did anything bad to me, nor anyone I knew, but there's so many stories going around. Stories? Someone like you, with your scientific mind, would believe in mere rumors and allegations? It's also the people around you, Sakiko. They are rude. They treat me like some sort of useful machine, not like a person. And that's supposed to be the people around me? People who said you had told them about me. Who did that? Who was rude to you? Tell me, and I'll make sure it won't happen again. I don't know their names. Well, dear, the next time this happens, be sure to ask them their names and tell me. I can't have people around me who disturb my most valuable assets. Oh, that doesn't sound nice, calling her an asset. I'm sorry, did you just call Erika one of your assets? What makes you think that? My most valuable assets are my good connections to people all throughout Blue Tide, of course. That's how I make a living. You need to make a living? In a city where no one needs to work for food. And lodging and everything you ever want or need is given you for free? It's funny you see it that way. What other way would I see it? Well, surely you agree that there are worthless things to have aside from the bare essentials, right? Or worthwhile. Erica, I think I understand now what you mean. By saying you're not sure whether Sakiko can be trusted. Hey, I think we'll try to get along without your help, Sakiko. Thank you. Are you saying I am not worthy of your trust? That's pretty much what we're saying. I'm saying that trust is something that needs to be earned. And in everything I've seen and heard from you so far, there wasn't so much that would build that trust. Yet you trust that little spark over there. She's already proved she is willing to help. Without her, I wouldn't be able to use this camera and speaker here. If that's enough to convince you, Supervisor, then you're much less of a man than I thought. And why would I care about your opinion of me? This is just a waste of time. Toodles! Thank goodness I didn't really like her much. And I don't want to ever have to do anything with her, because she just seems like a terrible person who uses people as assets. Whew. You sound glad that she's finally gone. I am. Around Sakiko, it's though I can't breathe right. I guess it's better not to have her around. Probably, though I must admit she is good at what she does. Now, shall we forget all of this and concentrate on the seismometers again? Yes, the seismometers, of course. Now, where was I? Oh yes, the bolts. Now, where's my multi-tool? Ah, here. You carry a multi-tool? Sure, you never know when you'll need it. Okay, I've got it open. Ah, good. Looks like a half mechanical, half positronal construction to me. The motion sensor in itself is a thin metal strip, iridium, I'd say, and a positronic scanner reads the movements of that sensor. Then we have two ways of manipulating the seismometers. Right, by either affecting the iridium strip or feeding false information directly onto the positronics. I'd say try the positronic solution. Really? Wouldn't it be easier to build some mechanism that moves the metal sensor? Maybe easier, but less precise. And if we want to make sure the systems believe our false earthquake, we better be precise. So, what can we do? I need a network signal amplifier, a programmable positronic console, 2 network-controlled chips type 121A, 2 resistor type Chi, 2 Posimo impulse module grade F, and a cup of tea. Sencha will do fine. Though, I'll just get the tea myself, but I need your help with the other things. I guess I can't have the control chips, the resistors, and pause impulse modules produced for you at the factory. However, a programmable positronic console is out of the question. And the network signal amplifier? Difficult to say. If I can put it on Sable, then the factory can produce it for me. However, something that large would be unusual for a small parts list. Well then, let's go to the factory and have a look, shall we? Okay. Wow, Erica's back to her usual efficiency, it seems. It's so different when she was around that Sakiko. I wonder if Erica's generally nervous around other people, or whether it's only Sakiko that makes her insecure. From what I've seen so far, it's probably the latter, which, when we were with Minako, it definitely seems kinda that way, though she's probably slightly nervous around people in general. Okay, now all I need to do is to wait for her. She usually doesn't take long. Oh wait, she said she wanted a cup of tea first. In that case, it could take a few minutes, enough time to do a few preparations. Drew, where are you? Drew floats with the waves at the factory, wishing the supervisor were more observant. Huh? Is that robot getting snippy with me? Okay, Drew, I have a job for you. Try to put the following items on Sable. 2 network-controlled chips, type 121A. The waves have been sent. 2 resistors type Chi. The waves have been sent. 2 pause impulse module grade F. The waves have been sent. And a wireless signal amplifier. Sable asked for the size of the rock that the supervisor wished to throw into the current to make waves. Well, tell Sable to give me the biggest rock it can find. The waves have been sent. Good. Apparently a wireless signal amplifier was still small enough to be part of Sable. Now, what could I do about the last piece of equipment? The programmable positronic console? I certainly cannot have it produced with Sable. It's much too sophisticated for that. Maybe. Drew, can you access the positronics backup stock list? Drew is capable of writing that wave if it is allowed to access the private code. Now, what does that mean? The list shouldn't be encrypted or protected. Who is the owner of that, cove? Ty. Ah, the technical AI. Now that makes sense. The list must be on one of Ty's file servers, and while that isn't protected in itself, a diagnostic robot like Drew isn't supposed to access Ty's databases. Are you there, Supervisor? Right here. I really needed that Sencha. I was already up all night. Another hour of that tea and I would have fallen asleep. Okay, then it's good to have you back. I already placed orders for the parts you need on Sable. Ah, good. Is everything available? Well, almost. It's as I expected. The small parts weren't much of a problem, but something as complex as a positronic console. A programmable positronic console. If I needed a simple fixed task console, I would have just opened one of the intercom terminals and taken it from there. I don't think the AIs would have liked you if you started to take the intercom terminals apart. Why should they complain? As long as it's a sort of artistic expression, they don't mind me taking things apart. Well, as long as they're not important things. Out of curiosity, if you wanted to salvage a programmable console, what system would you have taken apart? One of the medical scanners at the lab, of course. Unfortunately, that is out of the question. Mice tag them as emergency modules and doesn't allow people to take them apart. Why does this sound as though you've already tried to do that? Anyway, there's a better way. I'm sure we could have at least one or two of these programmable consoles in stock. I could program you a temporary authorization to our positronic backup storage so that you can retrieve it. That doesn't sound too bad either. Why don't we do that? Because it means breaking into Ty's network and putting a delivery tag on their respective entry in the stock list. That's a tough task for a simple diagnostic robot like Drew. Why don't we just ask Ty to give us what we need? Because Ty won't listen to you. He wasn't programmed for interaction with people, and he certainly won't understand the "it's about the art" argument. I mean, he would listen to a command from the supervisor, but he won't accept me speaking to him. He'd never recognize my voice. We usually exchange information through other channels. And what if I talk to him? You're only a citizen. There's no reason why you could even consider anything you say. I'd still like to try that. I think I may be able to convince him. Okay, another decision time. Let's rather try to access the stock list, if you think you can do it, or I think it's best to get a console from the medical labs. The medical labs one doesn't sound like a great idea. I think I'll let her say if you're sure you can do it, but I want to make another save again, so we're going to save over the same spot again. And once again, if anything screws up majorly, we can start from here again. I am. Well, then give it a try, though it beats me how you would ever even get Ty to talk to you. It's not as difficult as it looks, especially not here in the factory. Let's see, where's a suitable process? Ah, here! What are you doing? I'm about to stand in the way of one of those big welders. Ty cannot allow production to somehow endanger the life of a human being, so he certainly will. Citizen, you have entered a designated manufacturing zone. These zones are off limits to citizens. Please step aside. Ah, I see. Is this the technical AI speaking? Yes, I am Ty, the technical AI. Your designation is Kitsuri Erika. Please step aside. I'm sorry I am standing in your way, Ty. I needed to get your attention, so I decided to interrupt one of your processes. A behavior justified by logic, yet a disruptive behavior nonetheless. Please step aside. If you listen to what I have to say and you will help me, then I will step aside. I am unable to process the logical if-then construction. However, without knowing whatever you need, I cannot derive a process from it. Please step aside. Are you prepared to accept my input on the if-then construction? I am prepared to accept your input. Please step aside. I need one programmable positronic console, like those used in medical scanners. Are there any in stock? There are 3 programmable positronic consoles with the given specifications in stock. Please step aside. You listened to what I said, Ty. This fulfills the first part of the if-then construction. Now the logical AND connector. If you help me, then I will step aside. I conclude that I will be able to help you by giving you what you need, Kitsuri Erica. You said you need one programmable positronic console. Thus, giving you that console will complete the if-then construction. That is a logical conclusion. However, Protocol Voss-Helbig Protocol, Section 0242 does not permit citizens to have access to the programmable positronic consoles. Please step aside. Yeah, that's what I thought. It isn't that easy to get access to a console which could be used to manipulate almost any machine in the city. Ty, compare the priority of Protocol to the priority of the production process that is obstructed by me standing here. Protocol has a lower priority than the production process of an auxiliary coolant system for the tidal power plant. Please step aside. Wouldn't logic dictate to follow protocols according to the priority only? That is correct. However, if I am capable to fulfill both protocol and the production process by telling you to step aside, it is even more efficient. Please step aside. Human beings are prone to illogical behavior, right? That is correct. Please step aside. Out of this illogical behavior, I will not step aside unless you get the programmable positronic console I asked for. A delivery order for one programmable positronic console has just been placed on the positronic backup stock list. Delivery will follow in 8.14 minutes. Please step aside. A logical if-then construction is fulfilled as soon as I have the console. However, as all processes leading to me have the console have been started, I will step aside. Thank you for your cooperation. You're welcome, Ty. Wow, that was really cool. She got a logic-based robot to basically break rules by making something of a higher priority not able to happen. That's rather interesting. I really liked that. Amazing. You know exactly which of Ty's buttons to push, so to speak. It isn't that difficult if you learn to set all emotion aside. Ty only understands how machines and computer works, in terms of logical cause and effect. If you talk to him like that, I see. I wouldn't have thought that possible. I guess he'd just find a way to try to remove you from... I thought he'd just try to find a way to remove you for your disruptive behavior with one of the LAWs. Oh, but Ty doesn't control any law and order units. Only Mai and Callie can access them. Then why didn't Ty contact any of them? Waste the resources of 2 AIs, himself and one another, for a problem with one single citizen? That's much too inefficient for Ty to even consider it. Consider me officially wowed. Well then, while we are waiting, why don't we start with the first seismometer? Oh, can you do that without the positronic console? Sure, I need the console later to make a remote control. All modification to the seismometers are possible with these parts. Now where are they? That should be the ones I was looking for, right here. See you in a minute. See you. Good. If things go smoothly from here on, then it won't be much longer till I'm back in control. Judging from the parts that Erica needs, I suppose she's going to build some sort of remote control network, outfit 2 of the seismometers with the positronic emitters, and connect the 3rd directly with the console. So she can program the console to activate the emitters in the exact intervals a real earthquake would hit the seismometers. This should be enough to start the repair process as we want. You know, that is really, really smart actually. Like, just the whole thing she did, and the fact that she was able to do it herself. I'm actually quite wowed myself. Erica really understands technology well. Knowing the exact designations for the needed parts isn't exactly easy. I know these seismometers are very basic sensors, but still, I'm impressed. Someone of her abilities really should be allowed to do more than just create art. Supervisor? Oh? What is it, Erica? I'm afraid the modifications maybe a little more trouble than I thought. Why's that? I don't have my soldering iron with me. What? I'm afraid I left it at home. I don't always need it, you know. You're about to make modifications to a positronic circuit where every component snaps into place with a standard link. What do you need a soldering iron for? I didn't even know we used these things anymore. The circuit isn't the problem. However, connecting the control console is. Why? It needs power. I can quite easily take one of the power lines running through the floor and divert it to power the console, but I must somehow attach the cables. And why don't you just unplug one of the systems and... There are no plugs down here. Everything is hardwired. I need to take off the isolation off a cable and attach the console power lines directly there, and a soldering iron would work nicely. But won't you need solder too? Solder isn't a problem. I'll just scrape off a little solder that attaches the seismometer to its plug down there. Of course, I can always do this without soldering, but the connection won't be exactly stable. If you think it could still work, I don't have a soldering iron, and I doubt there's anyone used in the city systems. That's way too low-tech a tool. The only ones are probably owned privately. But couldn't a welding torch accomplish almost the same? Erica? Yes? What about a welding torch instead? A welding torch? All you need is a little heat to soften the solder, right? A welding torch on very low power could accomplish the same, couldn't it? It's actually a little more tricky than that. I mean, it could work somehow, but it's better if I do it with my own hands. And you could also do it without a soldering iron? Essentially, yes. I could just tie the wires around one another and make a primitive knot. And that works. It's not the most stable connection, but it should hold together. Somehow. Okay. ECU seems a little too ditzy to do this properly. I feel like he would just set everything on fire somehow. So I'd rather her do it manually, but once again, I'm gonna make another save, just for safety's sake, because I don't want to have to skip all this so much. So we'll have her do it her way, for now. It will probably work, don't worry. If I don't move... Go away, Avast. I'm trying to make a video. Stop being antivirus program. If I don't move the console around too much, there's not much that can go wrong. Let me first check for a suitable... Ah!